and we flew off an overpass going through Atlanta, Georgia. And there were 35 people on board the bus. 7 were killed, and I was the worst citizen who survived. Here I was, an athlete, and now all of a sudden I can't walk. There is no scientific evidence telling me that you should be where you are right now with as severe of injuries as you sustain. One doctor told me, Tim, when it comes to you, we just throw out the textbook because it doesn't apply to you. And that brings about gratefulness. When things go bad, when your whole world seems to fall apart and implode and all your plans are gone, I dare you. Keep pushing.
What's up, guys? My name is Alyssa. I'm tagging in for Andy Golding, partner and chief strategy officer at Kripke Enterprises, and I am very excited about today's episode of Toledo Works. In Andy's podcast, he speaks with business owners to uncover their stories of success, struggles, and achievements. This podcast is sponsored by Kripke Enterprises. At Kripke, recycling metal is not just good for the environment, it's good for business. This podcast is produced by Stewart Media Strategy, and today I'm thrilled to introduce Tim Berta of Berta Ventures, LLC. Tim
Hi
Berta,
there. Hi there,
welcome
Alyssa.
to Toledo Works.
Thank you.
All right. So Tim's my neighbor and a lot of other really cool things, but first and foremost, my neighbor. All right, Tim. So why don't you talk a little bit about yourself?
I grew up in Ida, Michigan. I got recruited to play football at Bluffton University. Went there. Then there was a coaching hiccup in their baseball team, and they didn't have any recruits, so they had open tryouts on campus. So I figured, I love baseball. Why not? So I made the team. Freshman and sophomore years, I played football and baseball. Then I soon realized I'm not that good to do 2 sports in college. So junior and senior year, I was a student coach for the baseball team while still playing football. And then that's why I was on the bus on March 2nd of 2007 in Atlanta, Georgia. We were on our way down to Florida for our spring break trip, and we flew off an overpass going through Atlanta, Georgia. And there were 35 people on board the bus. 7 were killed, and then there was 1 with a severe liver issue. There was a lot of broken bones, and I was the worst citizen who survived. I won't get into everything, but I had numerous bleeds all over my brain, collapsed lung, broken bones, every rib was broken, so I was a mess.
Jeez.
So, and that was severe, catastrophic injuries changed my life. So here I was, an athlete, and now all of a sudden I can't walk. And I did not understand what was going on. But that was in Toledo when I flew up here to Toledo. I do not remember anything about being on the bus. I do not remember anything about being in Great Memorial Hospital down in Atlanta, Georgia. It's all gone. That was told to me. So.
Wow. How old were you when this happened?
22 years old. in the prime of my life, 8 weeks away from graduating with a bachelor in biology.
So what was your plan before all this happened? What
My
did you want to do?
My plan before this was to become a nurse and then eventually get a master's degree in nursing and transfer my credits from Bluffton to a nursing school. And then, because I was a biology major at Bluffton, so I was going to transfer to a nursing school because they did not offer nursing at the time, and then go forward from there, wherever life took me from there.
I gotcha. What was interesting about nursing? What made you want to pursue that over anything else?
Well, the human body and anatomy was fascinating to me. And plus, I would be helping people. I'd always loved to help people, and it didn't seem like there'd be much issue getting a job in healthcare because people are always getting sick or injured. So it didn't seem like a whole lot of negatives to it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So what do you remember from the bus crash? Is there anything?
Nothing.
Not even getting on?
Not even getting on. The closest thing I can remember to before the accident. I mean, yeah, I remembered how to read and how to do simple things and what my name was and names and all that. I remember a lot of good stuff from before. But the closest thing to the accident that I can remember, this is epic. The Tuesday, we left on Thursday evening. I had to be told that. The Tuesday of the same week, my friends and I went down to Frickers in Findlay from Bluffton for the chicken wing special.
Heck yeah.
So, my dad joined us that night from Ida. And as we were hugging goodbye, he said, "Tim, I am so glad you are taking a bus because a couple years beforehand, like 2 years before that, we had carpooled down with different parents driving." And he said, "Tim, I'm so glad you're taking a bus to go down to Florida. It's got to be a lot safer." And I said, I remember saying this to him in the parking lot as we hugged goodbye. "Well, Dad, a bus can get in an accident just as easily as a car can." I remembered nothing else for months, but I remember saying that. That is the closest thing to before the accident. I remember nothing about getting on the bus. I don't even remember the Wednesday before we left because that was the week before spring break. I don't remember Wednesday at all. And you know, if I had known that, I'd have skipped class on Wednesday because I'm not going to remember it anyway, right? So why not just chill out?
Yeah. Fair enough.
But you win some, you lose some, I guess. But
hindsight's 20/20, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right. Well, walk me through your recovery journey. What did that look like for you? Do you remember, like, what point, I guess, of your recovery do you remember?
Again, nothing from Atlanta. This is the first thing I can remember is it was like I just woke up. I don't know if I really had just woke up or what, but I was looking around. I could gather I was in a hospital, and I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't have a brain ache or anything like that. And so I'm thinking, what is this place? It's a hospital. That's not good. I don't remember. Now, It'll come to me shortly what was going on. Nothing came. Not a single scrap of anything. And so as I'm sitting there or laying there, is my family okay? What happened? Where am I? What's going on? But I'm not speaking at this point. I'm just thinking all this. I saw my mom in a chair. She was reading. She didn't look too upset. So I said, well, at least I know she's alive. So it was confusion, complete bewilderment. I didn't know much. So.
Do you know how long you were out for, like in the hospital out for, before you opened your eyes and came to?
I don't. I'm guessing it was about 2 or 3 weeks before I was sent home from UTMC inpatient. I had spent 6 weeks down in Atlanta, most, if not all of which, was spent in critical care, none of which I remember. And so I can say this, honestly, that I have met Hank Aaron. But I can also honestly say I have not met Hank Aaron because I remember nothing. The only thing I have that proves that to me is there's a picture of him by my hospital bed in Atlanta. Hank Aaron.
Wow.
When I show the picture to nursing classes, I say, just to avoid any confusion here, I'm the little white guy in the bed. just to avoid
Right.
Yeah. I don't want anybody to be confused.
Fair enough.
Right.
Okay, Tim. So let's go back to the bus crash real quick. How did they find you? How long were you there for before someone got to you? Was it right away?
They were first responders. No, I'm told this.
Yeah, I
don't
know you don't remember, but
anything, but I'm told first responders were there on the scene in 4 minutes.
Wow.
Now, if you've ever been to downtown Atlanta,
Yep.
you know you're not going anywhere in 4 minutes. I don't care what sirens you have. By the time of morning it happened, 5:38 in the morning, there was a very little traffic. So, and first responders and hospital staff also told my parents, had this accident happened 50 miles north of here or 50 miles south of here, he would have bled out because I had no way of getting my spleen out in time. Now that, if there's such a thing as perfect timing for something like that, that's it. So, yeah.
Wow. So throughout your recovery journey and that process and everything, how did your identity and sense of self evolve? What aspects of yourself, if any, did you have to rediscover or redefine?
I definitely had to form a new identity because I used to be an athlete, a whale of an athlete, a good athlete. Now I can barely walk. I couldn't walk for a while. My left arm was stuck here. So that took, I couldn't even wipe my own rear end. And that was disheartening.
Yeah.
I mean, here I was a college athlete, and now I can't even do simple things. I definitely had to get used to that. And my idea of God changed too. Because at first, it was grumbling. Why did you do that? Why did you let this happen? How could this happen? What are you doing? What kind of a good plan is this? The more I learned about what happened, the more it hit me that how close to death I was and how much worse it very easily, and science has should have been, that maybe there's something bigger at work here. Because there's doctors have told me this. There is no scientific evidence telling me that you should be where you are right now with as severe of injuries as you sustain. One doctor told me, Tim, when it comes to you, we just throw out the textbook because it doesn't apply to you. And that brings about gratefulness.
Understandably so.
I mean, because I don't deserve that. I was just like everybody else. I'm not some saint here, and God did that for me. Because there's nothing science says that should have me do what I'm doing.
Was God always a part of your life, or was that something that you found after all of this happened?
Always a part of my life, but now it's more evident. He's more real to me. I mean, yeah, I grew up in church and yay, praise the Lord, all that stuff, pray and all that, but now I've seen him. I've felt it. I know firsthand the God that I worship, and he is beyond anything I could have ever even fathomed.
Wow. So this is like kind of a personal side, but I think that everything happens for a reason. That gets thrown around quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
And God has a plan. And
Yeah.
so I guess at any point throughout your journey since all of this happened, have you stopped and thought, like, this is me fulfilling the purpose that God wanted me to fulfill, and the path that I am on is like what I was meant to do?
Maybe. I mean, I've thought things like that before, but it's more in that I hope I'm doing, because I'm doing the best I can. And I hope I'm doing right with the gift I've been given. So I'm living my life the best I can to honor my fallen teammates, because they had just as much right to live as I did, and so I'm honoring them. Well, I do my best to honor them as I live my life. So that is a much greater calling and much greater purpose than anything I could have ever imagined for myself.
Wow. kind of with that, how have you navigated the complex emotions I'm sure that come with survivor's guilt? And
Yes. Lots of guilt, lots of anger early on, lots of confusion early on. But with time, and as I already said, the more I learned about what happened and the more details I figured out, like my brain moving. The brain, they removed a chunk of my skull to give the brain room to swell because my brain was swelling. When they went to put it back in, they noticed that since the accident and since the swelling had stopped, the brain scrunched itself away from the hole in my skull because it knew the skull was there to protect it and it should stay away from that hole. When the doctor put the piece back in, he came rushing out of the surgery room to my dad, and my dad described him like a little kid in a candy shop. He was so excited. What he showed my dad was that after the skull piece was replaced, the brain said, it's like the brain said, oh, the danger is gone now, so let me go back to normal. And it almost like, I don't know how fast it was, so I obviously didn't see it, but kind of like a sponge that you squeeze out and then it refills. In my imagining, I don't know, but
gotcha. Wow.
but I have no words I didn't know. Holy cow. You gotta be kidding me. And the brain is made with that ability inside it. My gosh. See, that's the power of. See, that's what I meant when I said now he's more real to me. Now God, I can see God. That's what God is. That's the miracle of life, as my dad described it. Because I was just a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on well water. I didn't have some super brain protein fluid, some injection when I was younger, or in Atlanta because it was a good hospital. It was a regular brain.
Wow.
Right.
So, I guess, do you credit God for getting through the survivor's guilt of it? Or did you have, like, coping mechanisms? I mean, there's got to be long-term impacts of your TBI.
Oh, yeah, there is. There always will be. And it's not as bad as it was. I mean, with time and talking to a counselor and talking to people, and there was one time that while I was with a group of survivors and the families of those killed, and I went up to the families and I said, I don't know that you need to hear this or that you want to hear this, but I need to say this. And I will tell you that I am sorry that I lived and your sons didn't. I had nothing to do with it, and I'm sorry. And they said, Tim, we love that you're doing so well. We keep going. That is awesome. We have got to have something good come out of this. And yeah, that's about what I expected them to do, but that helped release me a little bit too.
Are they supportive of you? Do they keep up with you and follow all the stuff that you're doing?
Oh, yeah. As far as I know, yeah. A lot on Facebook.
Oh, that's where all the moms love to be, right?
Yeah. I actually went to a wedding of Zach Aaron was his name, who landed at 3 o'clock, and he died. And I actually went to his sister's wedding last year, I believe. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So do they know about the project that you've been working on that we'll get to a little later?
I don't know that they know that or not. Yeah, I don't know, but they will eventually.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's pivot a little bit to Berta Ventures.
Okay.
All right, walk me through Berta Ventures. Are you a one-man show? Do you have a team?
Well, right now I am, because I don't know what I'm doing. I was a biology major. I don't know what business is. So, but I formed the LLC so that, because it's like a business, and it will, if somebody gets really upset about something and they can't get after me personally, they can go after the business. So,
I gotcha.
because I was advised to do that. So
Yeah, good move.
yeah.
Good move. But what all does Berta Ventures encompass? Like, what does a day in the life look like?
It's the publishing, the publisher of my book, because I self-published, and then I also, it has a website, and I speak under it at different times. So it's kind of, instead of, I mean, I'm a lone man right now, but for example, there was a trade school that went on my website and got me to speak for their graduation one year, or last year, or something like that. So yeah.
So it's like motivational speaking and speaking.
In a way, yeah. Or I visit classrooms at Lord's University for nurses. I visited UTMC or UT nursing students, physical therapy students, Bowling Green nursing students, speech pathology courses, a lot of places. So yes.
Gotcha. So what made you decide that was the path that you wanted to follow? Like talking to people and getting your story out there?
Well, the more it sunk into me, all these things that happened to me and all these successes that I really should not be having, even though, to me, I just do what I do. I mean, I'm going to go after something I want. That's what I've always done. And yet, I have medical professionals, doctors, telling me that you should not be doing this. There's no scientific evidence. And what I mean by no, you should not be doing this, they're not saying you should not be doing that, shame on you. They're saying that there's no medical evidence telling me that you should be where you're at in recovery based on the severe injuries.
But you were a two-sport athlete in college, right? So you've been pretty driven and determined, and you've been a go-getter since the beginning, and it seems like you'd have to be pretty tough, and
Yeah, I was
seems
a catcher.
like you're a fighter. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's just who you've been your whole life.
Yeah, I guess.
Gotcha. So how did you transition from a place of both obviously physical, mental, emotional recovery to taking on a leadership role as you're an assistant coach at Lord's, right?
I used to be.
Used to be?
Yes.
Okay. So in an assistant coaching role, motivational speaking role, and a now future best-selling author. How did you pivot?
Yeah.
I guess what was the turning point for you? When did you decide I am going to make the best of this?
with time, the more like I said, the more I realized all these things that I've expressed to you, and more than one person without talking to me has said, you should write a book. Then another guy, completely unrelated to that guy, you should write a book. And it kept recurring and repeating, and it felt like, maybe I should write a book. So, but I don't know what I'm doing there. So actually, I was at Lord's University talking with a lady who worked for the Alumni Association, because I was an alumni board member. And I was talking to her, telling her that, I really feel the need to write a book about what happened with me, but I don't know how to even begin doing that. And she looked at me and she said, oh, well, I do that. I help people to do that. Oh, okay. So that's what got the ball rolling.
So just asking for help.
Well, not even asking her, just saying that do you know of anyone that does
Posing
that?
a question.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it was her.
So how long ago was that now?
Oh, gosh. At least 4 years ago, at least.
Now, did you have any of the book written at that point? Had you started it, or?
I had different pieces of writing and different medical sheets and things like that, and she helped me put all of that together and form it into a coherent structure for a book. And actually, she's the one who told me, when we were talking one day, she said, I've read memoirs before where they provide a lot of factual evidence. They tell you what happened, but they don't tell you how they feel about it. That's why I'm reading the memoir, to get their feeling on it. And so we wrote a couple chapters about what happened, and then I was thinking about that one day, and I said, how will I do that? Then I prayed about it. Then it hit me pretty soon. Hey, I'm already calling the chapters that we've made endings. So why don't I just make the bottom half of each ending my personal thoughts? Because personal, home team, bottom half, that's perfect. So it grew from there.
I like it. So is that a little sneak preview that there's feeling, and there's obviously a pretty big part of you in this book?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Gotcha. How long have you worked on this for? Over, obviously, more than 4 years.
It's been quite a while. I don't remember when we started, but it's been quite a journey.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you see what you want, you think of what you want to do, and then you go and you do it.
Yeah.
I guess, where do you get that courage and that zest to want to do all of this and pursue everything?
Well, I kind of had that early on growing up, because my parents said, you can be anything you want to be, but you have to work for it. So I kind of had that in my head my whole life, but a big part of that, too, to add to that, was the more I realized about this accident and how everything that happened, we were a team. And as a team member, teammate, this is my job then, to honor them by going after what I want in this life. So I'm doing my best to honor them.
Wow. So I guess if you had to give an entrepreneur a piece of advice for their struggles when, maybe they lose a big account, they lose a bid, whatever, these things that maybe we think in the moment are life and death and they feel like these huge issues. I guess what advice do you have for those individuals?
The one that immediately comes to mind, and the one that I use all the time, is that, well, could be worse. I mean, I can still wipe my own rear end. I can still drink water. There was about a year I couldn't even drink water. Because thin liquids didn't work for me. With the epiglottis being compromised, it wouldn't shut off in time. I could still walk. I could still drink water. And the second thing is that if you don't go after what you want, you're not going to have it. Yes, if you go after it, you might not have it, but you also might have it. So take your chances going after it. If it's worth it to you, go after it. So there's lots. I've failed a lot in my life. I have done stupid things, but I'm not gonna say, oh, just don't quit, just don't give up, because then that minimizes what happened to me. That makes it seem simple, like I didn't have a completely life turnaround. Everything fell apart. That makes it sound simple. It was not simple one bit. But business owners, when things go bad, when your whole world seems to fall apart and implode and all your plans are gone, I dare you, keep pushing. Keep going after what you want. No, it won't be easy. There will be plenty of times you want to quit. It might not be what you wanted initially. This is certainly not what I wanted initially in my life. But I dare you. Keep pushing. Maybe it's a new dream. Maybe. See, this is better than anything I could have imagined for myself. I'm helping more people with the ESPN thing, with the book coming out, than I could have ever helped as a nurse. So this is better.
I love that.
I dare you, keep fighting.
That's really good advice, Tim. What I guess on that note, I mean, Have you found it's been hard for people to come and ask you for advice or to ask you how you might get through something just because, what happened to you was literally life or death when,
Right.
Their problem might be not able to get calls back from people or, maybe they're having trouble raising money. How do you navigate being a mentor and kind of like in a mentor position?
Good question.
Do you feel like you're a mentor?
Sometimes I do. Like when people specifically tell me, like tomorrow, I'm taking a guy out, a young student for lunch, and his mom tells me he really looks up to me, so and he's read my book, or at least I don't know if he's finished it, but he has a lot of questions, and I'm happy to support youth like that. So, and there's another guy, a young guy who really looks up to me too. Also has a brain injury, and I kind of look at that as both instances as it's my duty. It's what I do. I'll let them see the good life I have and know that they can have that too.
I hope you know that you're inspiring to far more than just two people.
Okay, thank you.
You're inspiring to me. I think everything that you do daily is absolutely incredible, and taking all that you've learned and everything that you went through and using that to try to help others is awesome. And it's, look at that.
Thank you.
It's what you wanted to do in the beginning.
Yeah.
You ended up doing it anyway, right?
Yeah. See, like I said, this is better.
But better.
Yeah.
That's great. So, your book.
Yes.
When is it coming out? Is it out? Fill me in.
I have initial prints right now.
Mm-hmm.
The official launch online and all that will be on September 10th, which is a Tuesday, I believe, at Lord's University.
Okay. Now, can people come out and see you and meet you, or?
There's a online sign up, and you could pay there. It's VIP. They call it pregame before the main event, which is Chris Peterson is interviewing me on the book writing process on I don't know what else. So
Okay.
and if you buy one of those, I think it includes a book with it. So
Gotcha.
and maybe you'd be able to meet me too.
Oh.
So you should buy one, then you'd be able to meet me.
Yeah. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Gosh. I don't know what I would do with all that excitement.
Me either.
So are you going to go on a tour for this book? And also, you keep talking about a website and signing up. Where can the people find this? What is the website?
My personal website is myboyberta.com, but I don't think you can sign up for the launch on that website. I don't. Contact Lords if you want to sign up, because contact Lords University, because I'm not exactly sure where you find it. Just generally, I don't.
Okay.
They sent out an email update, but there are, and again, I don't know how you would find it online generally. I have it on my Facebook. I've shared it a couple times.
Okay.
So
Then, yeah, we can
Yeah.
find that and link it below
Yeah.
so everyone can sign up for that. And what's next for Tim Berta? Aside from golfing at Highland.
yeah, I am terrible at that, by the way.
And you can golf.
Yeah, barely.
Well,
But here's the best part. I don't know. And every time I didn't know what was ahead of me in this thing, through this whole process, it's turned out better than I could have imagined. So I don't know. So I'm happy to say I don't know what's next. But I'm hoping that the book helps people. It impacts people. It already has from those that have read it already. And maybe it'll open doors. I don't know what doors need to be open, but maybe they'll open. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
Here's to Amazon bestseller, huh?
yeah, correct.
Well, that reminds me too.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think should play me in the movie?
I was going to ask you if there's going to be a movie.
I don't know, but
I don't know.
I don't
You're
know.
asking the wrong person. I'm not
Oh.
I'm not hip with Hollywood. You guys got anything?
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, there you go. That'd be a good one.
Is he a 22-year-old good-looking guy?
But he's certainly not
No,
22.
He actually looks a bit like you.
Okay.
Looks a bit like you.
Oh, so he's good-looking then.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he is. Yes, he is. In fact, probably as far as my limited pop culture knowledge would indicate, he's rather one of the most good-looking ones there is.
Okay.
Perceived as
Good.
He's right.
So,
He's right about that. I know that much.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, is there anything else you would like to say or have said?
I would like to publicly thank my parents and my family and for helping me through this whole thing. Publicly thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who has helped me all the way. And teammates, this is to honor you. May you each rest in peace.
Thanks, Tim.